Throughout history, people have repeated the phrase, "An army marches on its stomach." It sounds simple, almost obvious, but the meaning behind it is deeper than it first appears. Soldiers cannot fight, travel long distances, or survive long campaigns without a steady supply of food. Behind every successful military force is a massive system responsible for feeding thousands of people every single day. So today we're asking, why do we say an army marches on its stomach? Where did this expression come from? And why has it lasted for centuries? Let's explore the story behind it, right here on History of Simple Things. The expression, "an army marches on its stomach," is most commonly attributed to Napoleon Bonaparte, although historians note that the idea existed long before his time. Napoleon reportedly said in French, "C'est la soupe qui fait la soldat," which translates roughly to, "soup makes the soldier." Whether or not he used the exact wording we know today, the message reflected his understanding that food determined how far and how effectively an army could move. Earlier military thinkers had already recognized the same principle. Even in ancient times, commanders understood that soldiers who were hungry or malnourished quickly lost strength and morale. Napoleon simply expressed the concept in a memorable way. And because of his enormous influence during the Napoleonic Wars, the phrase spread across Europe and beyond. Over time, it became a widely accepted military truth, repeated in books, speeches, and everyday conversation to emphasize the importance of proper sustenance. Food has always been one of the most basic yet essential needs of soldiers. A marching army requires energy to walk long distances, carry heavy equipment, build camps, and engage in combat. Without enough calories, physical performance declines quickly. Historically, soldiers often marched 20 or more kilometers in a single day while carrying weapons, ammunition, and personal gear. That level of exertion demanded steady nourishment. Beyond physical strength, food also influenced morale. Soldiers who received regular meals were more likely to stay disciplined and cooperative, while hungry troops were prone to exhaustion, illness, and desertion. Proper nutrition also affected decision-making during battles, as fatigue and hunger could weaken focus and coordination. Because of these realities, commanders who ensured steady food supplies often gained a major advantage over their enemies. Feeding soldiers was not simply a matter of comfort, it was a matter of survival and military effectiveness. Providing food for thousands or sometimes hundreds of thousands of soldiers has always been a complicated logistical challenge. Armies cannot simply carry all their food with them, especially during long campaigns. Instead, they must rely on supply lines, transport systems, and local resources. Historically, this meant wagons loaded with grain, salted meat, and other preserved foods followed the troops as they moved. If these supply lines were disrupted by enemies, weather, or distance, armies could quickly face shortages. In some cases, soldiers were forced to forage from nearby farms and villages, which often created tension with civilians. Military planners, therefore, had to think carefully about where and how an army would obtain food before a campaign even began. The phrase about marching on the stomach highlights how logistics, often overlooked compared to battlefield tactics, can determine whether a military campaign succeeds or fails. Many historical campaigns show how vital food supply is for armies. A famous example is the 1812 invasion of Russia by Napoleon Bonaparte. As his army advanced, their supply lines stretched too far, and Russian forces used a scorched earth strategy, destroying crops and resources. Without reliable food, Napoleon's soldiers suffered from hunger, disease, and exhaustion as winter approached. The campaign ended in a disastrous retreat, proving that even the most powerful armies cannot survive without a steady food supply. Over time, armies developed new ways to feed large numbers of soldiers. A major breakthrough came in the early 1800s when Nicolas Appert created a method of preserving food in airtight containers after the French government offered a prize for long-lasting food supplies. This innovation allowed armies to store and transport meals more efficiently. Later improvements included field kitchens, standardized rations, and better transport systems like railways and trucks. By the 20th century, militaries introduced ready-to-eat meals that could be stored for long periods, showing how crucial food logistics is in warfare. Although the saying began in a military context, "An army marches on its stomach" later became a broader metaphor. Today it is used to describe how basic needs must be met before success is possible. Just as soldiers need food to march and fight, people in workplaces, schools, and organizations need proper support and resources to perform at their best. The phrase endures because it highlights a simple truth. People cannot accomplish demanding tasks if their most essential needs are ignored. The phrase, "an army marches on its stomach," has lasted for centuries because it reflects a simple truth. Often linked to Napoleon Bonaparte, the idea is much older and highlights the importance of feeding soldiers during military campaigns. Throughout history, success in war has depended not only on strategy and weapons but also on reliable food supplies. In the end, even the strongest armies rely on the most basic human need: food. Thank you for watching. If you have suggestions for our next video, feel free to share them in the comments below. We'll be sure to give you an acknowledgement for your contribution. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the history of simple things. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more stories woven through the smallest details.